Oh, it's massive. And when I look back at the reign of the current board, that the highlights are those days out, aren't they? We've always said about being a community football club, and I think we when you have that sort of success, when you go to Wembley or the Millennium, it's fantastic for the town and fantastic for the community, and Cheltenham's got so many things to be proud of, and it's nice that the football club can make a really valid contribution to the townspeople in terms of A, entertaining them on Saturdays, and B, giving them all hopefully a day out at Wembley. We've done it twice, the Millennium twice, Wembley once of course, taken substantial numbers of people to those games, and it's great to go down there and see all the colour, the faces painted up and all the flags and stuff, and people with smiles on their faces courtesy of Cheltenham Town Football Club. So I think it gives us a huge and a sense of satisfaction actually that we're able to deliver that, because there aren't many things that in life that can deliver that sort of family day out, which will remain special forever. The photographs will come out every now and again as they do at my house, and the old video will come out, and perhaps the Rushden game, whatever it was. So yeah, it is fantastic. That's something that I would never have dreamt of. And there can't be many, as you say, there can't be many teams that have gone to a playoff final twice, and I suspect probably both times underdogs, but it'd certainly be underdogs against Grimsby, and have won, and deservedly so. So we've got a good track record in the playoffs and in the finals, and let's hope we can maintain that. It's a tough one though.
There's certain parallels between the three seasons, aren't there? Because the 2002 had the run to the fifth round of the Cup, and obviously generated significant money, and then 2006 was the Newcastle game televised, and this one we've had Tottenham to enjoy. Do you think there's a do you think the cup helps the club push on the second half of the season financially and?
Yeah, in a way, I hope that scenario doesn't repeat itself, because that could mean we're in for a few years of not without success. But I mean, the FA Cup, I'm not sure what spin-off that had, because actually our form dipped a bit after that, and whether that's coincidence, I suspect it's coincidence, to be honest. But the Cup was a great blip, because obviously, again, that was another occasion that people will remember, that the day they went to White Hart Lane to watch Cheltenham Town. White Hart Lane is one of the great venues, so that was a great day out, and a huge boost at the right time. And actually, the revenue that generated, of course, enabled us to strengthen the squad with the signing of progression. It enabled us to keep the loans to the end of the season. So really that came at the right time, because arguably without the good cup run, the money might not have been available to invest in the squad. And you always hope that in January you are able to push on, whether you're pushing on to automatic or to playoffs, or whether you're trying to push away from the bottom. January is that time when that window opens that you hope to do something, and obviously the cup success did enable us to do something.
Yeah, and you sort of said half jokingly to me earlier in the season that your dream scenario would be to go up via the playoffs, and you're 180 minutes away from a possible Wembley final. So can you remember the club being in a stronger financial position as this in your chairmanship?
Probably yes, because in the early days we didn't have this sort of carryover debt that we've got at the moment. But in terms of cash flow, I don't think it's ever been as strong as it is now. In terms of the amount of debt we've repaid, it's never been as good as it has now. In terms of going forward, the way we're managing ourselves, it's never been better. So I think financially, yeah, we are in a good place. Thanks in no small part to Tim Kent, who's our financial director, who's really grabbed the bull by the horns, and we know where we are. But clearly the success on the field with higher gates and the revenues coming from winning those extra rounds of the cup have been significant. So we're in good shape. And to get promoted via the playoffs is fantastic. Actually, John, to get to the playoff final and lose would probably generate a better financial result for us than getting to the playoffs and winning, because clearly getting to the playoffs and winning involves significant bonuses to the players, and rightfully so. So come what may, if we get to the playoff final, I'm going to be smiling whether we win or lose, because if we win, great, promotion, and if we lose, we've had a fantastic season, and we'll be reporting a pretty decent profit. Even if we get to the playoffs and don't get to Wembley, pretty decent scenario too, because obviously we've had additional gates from the playoffs, and without having to pay bonuses being promoted. So lots of great scenarios, and I'll take any of them at the moment.
Yeah, but the bonuses you would have to pay probably be balanced out by the extra TV money if you can get promotion.
Absolutely would. But obviously, if you don't have to pay out the bonuses, then you've still got that money. That money that can go into the playing budget for next season. So, whatever way we do it, just to get this far, is a huge relief, and same means financially, things are looking good.
Yeah, have you got any idea of how much all the money goes into a pot, doesn't it, in the semis? And then shared out amongst the clubs.
Yeah, I think it's a difficult one. We're probably looking at something like £50,000-60,000 from the playoffs, and then obviously if we do get to the final, we could be looking at 100,000 again. Ideally, I suppose we'd like to get to the final and play Southend. So I think as Cheltenham Southend final, we could be looking. If we took 20,000 people, I'm sure Southend would be taking 25,000 people. So you could be looking at a 50,000 gate for a final like that, which would be fantastic compared to the gate last year. I think when Stevenage played Torquay at Old Trafford, I think the gate was 7,000, something like that. There wouldn't have been a lot to go around with that sort of gate. So I think going back to Wembley, and with teams like Southend and Cheltenham, we will get a decent gate there. But we've got a bit of work to do first. And it's funny, I was just writing my programme notes, Sean. I said at the start of the season, I said we were 48 games away from Wembley, and now we're just 2. So we're well on the way.
Yeah, like you said, you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself. But if you can get promotion this year or even next year, do you think the club are a lot wiser with regards to what needs to be done to survive in League One than the last time you were?
Yeah, no, I think we are. You only got to look at how the promoted clubs have done. I mean, there's been mixed fortunes, hasn't there? I mean, Rochdale, was that the season before? They've gone out probably similar sort of size club to us, and they've come down. Wickham, arguably a little bit bigger than us, but they've come down. Stevenage, gates no bigger than ours, I don't think. In the playoffs, Yeovil have done fantastically well year on year to survive in League One. So there's no doubt that a club like us can get into League One and can survive. We survived for 3 seasons last time, which was some feat, I have to say. But I don't think we made many mistakes when we were up there. But we were constantly swimming against this tide, and the crowds, sort of started to peter out. Because when teams are losing, it's not great. But if we go up this time, the trick will be the quality of player recruitment and what we're able to give Mark in terms of the playing budget, without being silly and getting ourselves into transfer fees and contracts that aren't sustainable. Should we then be subsequently relegated? So I think the lessons are there. I think we won't make mistakes. We've learned from those. So I'm looking forward to being in League One or League Two this year. And as I said, I went to a business club meeting earlier this week or last week, talking about obviously the business model of Cheltenham Town. I said to them, really, that it's very much different now. In the past, all you were concerned about was getting promoted and spending money on getting promoted, and your season was judged on whether you actually won anything or got promoted. Actually, that model has now changed. For us, our success is judged on our profitability. So if we make a profit at the end of the year, that will be a success. And if we get promoted or have a great cup run, that's fantastic too. But ultimately, what the fans want to know is that they're going to have their club to support this season, next season, and the season after. And if you ask fans of Glasgow Rangers or Portsmouth or Port Vale or all these clubs who've had huge problems and their very existence has been challenged, what would they rather have? They'd rather have a club making profit and surviving, and that's really our focus now.
Yeah, do you agree that the squad at the moment's probably got more players that have the potential to make the club some money than it has for a long time?
I do, and I said to you in a recent article that because of our financial situation now, it does mean that we're better placed to retain the players that we want to keep. Whereas in the past, we would, generally speaking, we get an offer. Generally speaking, we'd have to accept the offer because of the situation we were in. So the decision then was driven by the finances of the club rather than by the management of the club. Whereas now, I hope that we're in a position to say on these transfer deals that is it right for the club? Can Mark get in a replacement to replace that player within that sort of money that we're getting for that player? So it has to be right for Cheltenham Town, and we've always said it has to be right for Cheltenham Town. But of course, in the past, if the money is a struggle, then you have to sell the player, whether it's right for the team or whether it's wrong for the team. You just have to do it. Whereas now, I think we can look at it from both scenarios. From the financial point of view, is the deal the right deal, and from the playing side, is it the right decision too? Yeah. I suppose the third consideration, and possibly the first consideration, is also the player, because we've always said that ultimately that it's a short career for footballers, and we don't want to hold them back. And if they can play at a high level, we want them to do that, but it has to be right for the club.
Yeah. Do you think that do you think Mark can keep all the players that he wants to keep for next
season?
season?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty confident. I mean, an awful lot of the players are signed on for another year. I think Luke is one of the players that I think Mark and the club is keen to sign on again. I think he's been tremendous this year.
Steve Elliott,
so
he's out of contract, isn't he?
I think there's 11 out of contract. I've lost track, to be honest, but 11 out of contract. But obviously, once we know what league we're in, once we know what sort of budget we can offer Mark, that's when we can sit down with Mark and Neil and look at who's staying, who's going, who's coming in, and build a squad accordingly. And Mark will obviously have his preferred systems and know the sort of players he's wanting. But with the signing of Jermaine, I think that's probably one for the future now. I think we'll see much more Jermaine next season. But we've got some great young players. I thought Harry Hoonan had a fantastic game at Plymouth. He's definitely one to watch. And likewise Baggerson. I think we've seen the best of Baggerson. So I think that there's lots of positives all around the club at the moment.